Hi there, my name is Matthew Brick. I'm a Valor Christian High School student, brother of four. I'm a wrestler, and I'm out to find interesting stories to talk to about, make connections, and hopefully point people to God. Let's get this, the Brick House Podcast.
This is Brick's home. This is your house. Presenting the Brick House Podcast. The Brick House. Here comes the boom.
Hey there, guys. My name is Matthew Brick. I'm so excited and appreciate you guys listening in. Welcome back to the Brick House Podcast. Today I'm here with Erika Heckman. She is a strength and conditioning coach. She's been for 10 years, and 7 of those years here at Valor. She's been involved in the Valor Discovery, leading the India trip for the past 2 years, and again this upcoming summer. How are you doing, Coach Erika?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Matthew. This is going to be great.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about this. How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. Very relaxing, getting away from Valor for a little bit. Went to Ohio, saw the fam, ate a lot of food, but happy to be back at work.
What part of Ohio? Because a lot of my family's up in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, just outside Dayton in Xenia, just outside of Xenia.
Okay, I've only been to Ohio a few times, but are you from Ohio? Like, was that where you were born and raised?
My dad was. My dad was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, but he moved out here probably 40 years ago to ski.
Okay.
Didn't want to stick around in Dayton. He wanted to explore Colorado. So I was born in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So Colorado native, born and raised.
Yeah, I can relate with that. My mom, she was like kind of the first to get out of Ohio. She was born in Ohio, but like my mom, she has no desire to go back. You know, I've been down there a few times. I have both family on my mom's and dad's side down there, but
awesome. I got to slip in a Go Buckeyes, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Michigan fans around here at Valor, and the bullying's getting out of control.
No, yeah. Football, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We lost again this year, but we'll come back around.
My brother's big on football. I did play football, but I'm not big of a watcher. But, yeah.
Big rivalry. Buckeyes in Michigan, one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a kind of a question for you. So what got you in athletics, maybe a sport, and now that you're pursuing it, at what point did you start pursuing it?
Yeah, I played sports. I didn't play a lot when I was younger. My mom and dad weren't really all that athletic. But I played basketball and volleyball in middle school, and then kind of stuck with basketball all throughout high school because I'm tall. Didn't play volleyball because I didn't want to play club volleyball, so I didn't want to. And at our high school, you really only made the varsity team if you played club volleyball, and so I didn't really do that. I stuck with basketball. Although tall, I didn't figure out until later in life that I just wasn't that good at basketball. But I had the game of my life in the semifinals state championship game, scored 25 points, and that's where Coach Jessica Caldwell and Tim Hayes, who were at CCU at the time, saw me. So they saw the best game of my career and recruited me to play at CCU in Lakewood, and played a year and a half there. But then again, you know, just wasn't necessarily the best, and I probably wouldn't have played until I was a senior. So I made the choice to transfer to UNC in Greeley and not play anymore. Just to I didn't necessarily want a biology degree, and that's what I would have gotten at CCU. Okay. So transferred up to UNC to get. I wanted to be an athletic trainer, like Matt and Callie are. My mentor in high school, and she's still one of my mentors today, was our athletic trainer. I went to Colorado Springs Christian School, so CSCS down in Colorado Springs. Okay. And she's still one of my mentors today. She was actually at our state football game 2 years ago. But I thought I wanted to be an athletic trainer, but then lost a lot of credits transferring from a Christian school to a public school. And so it would have taken me a really long time. So I decided to just go sports and exercise science and figure the rest out later. yeah, I got into an internship in Greeley, Colorado, called at a place called Acceleration Sports Performance, teaching high school kids how to run, and fell in love with it. I ended up I did an internship for 3 months out in LA. Moved out there, lived in an Airbnb for 3 months, and trained guys for the combine, the football combine, along with a lot of other professional sand volleyball players and different things down there in Redondo Beach, California. So yeah.
That's so cool. With being at Valor, what do you see in like the students that play athletics here? Like, I mean, like what would you say our strongest, like, because compared to other schools and what we have here, what would you say is like our strongest, like, I guess you could say talent, or what do we have that other schools don't have maybe?
Yeah. Well, a lot of kids probably wouldn't know, but they don't have, at a lot of other schools, they don't have full performance programs. They don't have the staffing that we have here. We have 2 full-time performance coaches here, as well as throughout the year, anywhere from 2 to 5 part-time performance coaches. And usually at most schools, they don't have that, along with just the facilities that we have. 2 weight rooms is unheard of, especially the size of the lower weight room that we have. So it's a huge blessing that Valor has decided from the beginning that this is an important thing. In my eyes, a dual sport or multi-sport athlete is going to be your healthiest athlete. It's been proven that you look at some of the people most of the athletes in the draft, the football draft, they played 2 to 3 sports in high school. It just prevents injury, really. But a lot of kids they specialize in sports nowadays.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite thing about being a coach?
The kids.
The kids?
Yeah. Mainly because as most people know, I'm a pretty dry-humored, sarcastic kind of person. And I like to make kids laugh, but I like it when kids surprise me. And kids surprise me often and make me laugh. But they're goofy and they're funny and they're kind. And they just show me a lot of things that you see that you still want to see good in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people look at the next generation as, raised by technology, kind of losers.
No, I
but
hear that.
I don't believe that. There's good kids, smart kids, kind kids.
I would say, like, I can kind of testify, but, like, a lot of the kids I hang out around are athletes, and, like, I have this, like, brotherhood, at least with the wrestlers, especially now going on my second year of wrestling, and I don't know, yesterday we were talking about this a little bit, because, like, we were regrouping after a duel, but, like, when you guys are, like, even though wrestling is an individual sport, it is a team sport, I would say, and if you guys are working all together and making each other better, a win is everyone's win and a loss is everyone's loss, or at least that's what it feels like. Even though, because I lost my match, but like I was so excited when I saw someone else win a match, or it was their first match and they won, and it was just like such a good feeling. And like I could still support my teammate and know that they won, and because I've been practicing with them, and even some of the guys that like we're not in the same weight class, I'm so happy for them. I guess. What advice would you tell Christian athletes? Because, like, there's a thing about being an athlete and then being a Christian. And sometimes, at least like something that I've struggled with, or like one thing I'm contemplating is like, well, I don't know if someone was like kind of joking with me or whatnot, but he was like saying, or at least because he's a tennis athlete here at Valor. And he was saying like, well, like for me, it's always been like, you should play for the glory of God. But then someone was like, well, you should play with God, or like have God be there with you. And I'm like, I kind of was like, what's the difference? I don't know.
Yeah. I think that we're called to do everything to the best of our ability. Mm-hmm. And when you do it to the best of your ability, you are glorifying God. And that, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. I don't necessarily believe that God creates wins or losses. I think he gives us lessons to learn from. And so the lessons that we learn in wins are different than the lessons we learn in losses. But you can glorify God in the wins and in the losses. But you just have to put him in the center of all of it. And if you have him in the center of all of it, then your worth doesn't lie in wins or losses or in the sport that you do. I think a lot of times it's easy in our culture to make idols out of the things that we do. And when we do that, our worth lies where those idols are. And so wrestling or a sport or arts or boyfriends or girlfriends become where our worth lies. And those things let you down. And so if your worth lies in those things that let you down, then you'll be let down a lot.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've been working on is kind of like surrendering, or kind of like being okay with my situation. At least with wrestling, or at least my journey right now so far, I haven't, like last year I win 26. I lost my first match. And so it's kind of like, I'm like, God, I mean, obviously, well, what's frustrating is because I know that I'm putting in the work, but one thing I kind of realized is like you can have your best performance and you could still lose, and you could have a really terrible performance and win. So I've been like learning that performance is really what you should be after. And then I also have kind of learned that God puts you somewhere, or God doesn't like punish you, because, I did pray for it, but it didn't happen maybe. But one thing I'm realizing is maybe there's a lesson to be taught from it. Mm-hmm. And who to say that I'm not going to win the next match? It's just, so, I definitely am trying to make God because like before wrestling, one of my good friends, he was like, I asked him like, because he had a really successful season last year, and I was just like, what did you do to win? And he said, I put God first. And, at one point, like I kind of was telling myself, I just want to win, kind of because I want that like highlight reel or that cool photo. But I don't know, I think it'd be so much cooler, and kind of what I'm trying to do here, if I can kind of just make a name for God rather than a name of myself. Now, it is harder than it seems. Like, definitely, I feel like sometimes I might say this, and then there's definitely that craving or that desire to go out and still make a name for myself. That's because, like, I want an identity. As a triplet, this is, like, the first 2 years of my life that I've ever had my own identity. And so it's kind of hard to be like, well, I'm kind of struggling, and I want to make an identity for my own name. But now that I'm learning, I should make a name for God. So that's something I've been working on.
I think, though, that with that, and I've learned this a lot this year, is that God uses you. So it's not necessarily, God wants to equip you. And so it's more of a with God instead of yes, you do want it to be for God. And I'm still learning this too, but you got to give yourself some of the credit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm learning that too, of like, because I want, God work through me, do this through me, do this. But he's like, here, I'm here to equip you, to use you. And that's it's a cool thought of like, it's with God instead of necessarily all for him. He's using you.
Well, like I want to be humble, but I want to win. I want to win. And yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with how yes, it is an individual sport, and sports can definitely be something that grows and learns you. But it also is how you react, and that's your ministry to the rest of the world. In losses and wins, are you humble? Do you shake the other competitor's hand? Do you say, hey, that was a great match? How do you react? That's your ministry in sports.
Yeah, if I can be that, maybe like, that Matthew Brick, I know I won't get it right every time, but if I can maybe like, that Matthew Brick, he was a nice opponent. Like, he wasn't cocky, he wasn't this.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so I'd ask, this is kind of the Mr. Champ question, but he was telling me that you've been reading, you're almost done finishing, like reading your entire Bible.
The Bible in 1 year, yes. I am almost done. I have stuck with it. It has been ups, it has been downs. I won't lie, there are days where it's just something to check off instead of something that I really dived into, but it has absolutely been a whirlwind. Last year, I would say that I really worked to learn how to read the Bible. I think that people don't know how because it's so intimidating. But most of my life, I've read books written by other people, but I wanted to actually read it for myself. And there's a lot of parts of it that are really hard to get through, especially in the Old Testament, especially if you have ADD like me and don't focus so well. but I have really learned, I think we all say like we want to live a life like Jesus, but then when we are encountered with decisions and hard things in life, do we really know how Jesus would react in that situation and the choices that he would make? And so learning a lot about how Jesus actually lived his life and the decisions he would actually make. And it's surprising sometimes because the decisions Jesus would make are to give grace and to give mercy in certain situations when we just want to be angry.
Yeah. What started you? What made you like choose to read the Bible like for every day and finish the whole book?
Like I said, I dove a little bit more into it last year, but then I got a Red Rocks church in Park Meadows. Shout out Red Rocks. If you don't have a church, come join us 9:00.
And youth
Sunday mornings, youth Wednesdays,
7
o'clock Wednesdays. Love to see you guys there. But anyway, they had challenged, Pastor Sean Johnson had challenged us to read it in a year. I think I was actually last December because I actually started on January 1st.
Okay.
And I was out of town when I started. And so I think he challenged us last December. And I was like, you know what? God was really calling me to do it. And it's something that sounded really hard to me. And so instead of making a New Year's resolution, that was my only thing I was going to do for the year was read the Bible in 1 year. And there's been times where I've had to read 2 or 3 days in a row because I skipped a couple days or missed a couple days, but I've stayed pretty consistent, and it's been more rewarding than I can ever say.
So you would say that there is an importance in reading the Bible?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't know how or where to start, there's so many different, because the way I did it, I didn't just start at the beginning and read all the way through. There's actually an app called Bible in 1 year. And you read a passage from the New Testament, or a passage from Psalms or Proverbs, a passage from the New Testament, and a passage from the Old Testament. It takes you about 30 minutes a day, so it is a little bit of a commitment, but there's also just so many other apps that you can use to start diving into the Word.
Okay. So you've been doing the India Discovery.
Yes.
Like, did you go to India before doing this, or was this like a whole immersion before, like, did you know what you're going into before you ever started to lead it and things like that?
No, I never went before, and I had never been on a discovery trip before. And so I went into the discovery office the first year. I just said, wherever you need me to lead is where I'll lead. I don't have any preference. And he had said India, and I have a fascination with the Dalits, the untouchables, this people in the slums in India, and just the caste system in general. I read a whole book called Caste, which is fascinating, but he had said that, and then he kind of moved me over, and he was like, well, we actually need help at Uganda, and I was a little bummed, a little sad, and went back in and was like, hey, I think God's calling me in my heart's to India, and had never gone before, and so it was terrifying, but I would say that I went in with it, Lord, open my heart, open my mind to whatever we see, and then walk me through it, because culture shock is real in those places. But so much prayer and so much preparation for that first year got me through.
I was told that that you guys actually go and see like a goat or a lamb and how they sacrifice it, and maybe they're gods or something like that.
Yes, that is one of the stories that has come back after our trip. Yeah, we do. So it's a highly, I tell everybody that applies or that everybody goes, that it's a really challenging trip. And it's not challenging in the way that people would think. We're not building houses. It's not physically challenging. The heat's pretty challenging, but we're not building things or moving heavy things. It's a very spiritually challenging trip because you see a lot of hard things you wouldn't see here. And one of the unique opportunities we get to do is to put Christianity and Hinduism side by side, and kind of compare and contrast the grace and the peace of the Lord and the fear-based religion that Hinduism is. And so that is, we go into that day specifically, we go into a Mother Teresa home. And so Mother Teresa started many homes all over the world, but that was the first one she started. When Mother Teresa first got to India, her very first day there, she saw a man die on the street. And she said, as long as I'm alive and after I'm alive, no one here in India will have to die alone. And so she started the Home of the Death and Dying is what it's called. And so it can be kind of a dark place. But contrasted with the Hindu, or the Kali temple, which is where we go in and we see the goat sacrificed. And the kids are given an option because it's a really spiritually dark place. And so we really, in our training and in our meetings leading up to it, we talk a lot about spiritual warfare and a lot about how God is bigger than all of that. But if you're not prepared to see it, it can be really, really hard.
Yeah. What transformations have you seen maybe in yourself or in the group that you have led, like students wise? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go back every year that they let me just because of the transformation that I see. It's the exact same trip. We do the exact same things, but I get to bring new kids every year, and that's awesome. The first year obviously was probably the most transformational because I didn't know what to expect. I went in with an open heart and an open mind and just, Lord, use me, work through me. But when you see people that have nothing, the joy that they exude, the way that we go to 2 church services while we're there in the slums, and it's a 10 by 10 foot by 10 foot room, and they fit 30 to 40 people in there. I mean, we're jammed in there. But the way that they worship and the way that they pray is God's their only answer. God's the only thing that they have. And so they believe with 100% of who they are. And I think here in America, it can be easy because we're surrounded by, we have so much and we have so many things to become our idols. So many things to draw away from where our worship lies. And when you have nothing, it's so much easier to give 100% of your worship to the Lord. And so seeing those things and our kids being able to see those things and to love on the kids and to be pushed out of their comfort zone is just incredible.
Yeah, I'll be going to Spain. This will be my first discovery trip. I had some hours last year, but like I'm going to Spain. It's like the 100-mile walk in Camino.
Yeah.
And that one, it's not so much like helping or eat. I don't even know if we interact with anyone else. Maybe someone, but really it's like a lot of just, I guess from how she explained it, we serve each other because like, we have to help each other maybe get through the hike or something.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for it. I really am. It kind of leads back to like a little and the reason why I kind of deciding to do this, the Camino and the Spain is because not this past summer, but the last summer I was sent away to a wilderness program. And for how much I love nature, it was kind of a dark place for me because I was with a lot of kids that also struggled. And so when, kids are not building you up, then it just kind of makes everything else miserable. But now and all we would do there is hike. Like we'd hike 8 or 9 miles a day, and I was there for 11 weeks. It was kind of like a reconstructive, kind of like, and it did teach me to be a lot more grateful for what I had. Just kind of helping maybe kids that struggle with certain things. But so going to this Spain trip, I'm really excited. I believe it's this summer, and I'm looking for maybe a transformation in myself or maybe helps because with the baptism that I have had, I didn't feel a voice or anything, but I felt like I should go and now that I've accepted Jesus, I want to go to my best ability, be able to be like, either be there when someone else is getting baptized or just if anyone else has questions. I won't know all the answers, but I feel like I can at least use my story and use my life examples to say that there's a God and show that. And
exactly. Yeah. That's what Sean Johnson says.
Sean Johnson, he reached out to me on Instagram, but definitely I want to get him maybe on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, I bet he'd do it. You should ask.
Definitely Jordan. I know Jordan's
down. Yeah, Jordan for sure. It'd be great. Yeah, you just got to tell your life story. That's how you bring other people to Christ. What God has done in your life. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that like, for as much Valor is a Christian school, I feel like there's not. Okay, my question is, what next level could Valor be doing to maybe because like to kind of I just don't feel as maybe because I haven't seen all the works and I haven't been on Discovery yet. Like I know that there's evidence of like community here at Valor. Maybe I just haven't seen it as much, but like I feel like we could definitely at least the student body could take like it a next level if that makes sense. Like I feel like we can come together more.
I mean, Valor in my opinion, Valor does a phenomenal job. With chapels and but it's not necessarily the things they do, it's the people that do them.
Okay.
The people that work at this school in so many different departments. You know, you look at history and Hutch and Edson and the Bible department with Lane Palmer and coaches. You know, I know the wrestling coaches. There are so many phenomenal people that work here that just are so passionate about their faith and so passionate about kids knowing the Lord. But also, and the way they do that is they know you. You know, they get to know you and they love you. And you know, I truly believe that you cannot, you have to build relationships.
Oh, okay.
Build relationships before you can necessarily change someone's heart. And I think that there's so many phenomenal people that work here that if our kids want to dive deeper into their faith, I went to a Christian high school as well.
Okay.
And so I know that it can sometimes become just something to do. You know, like a check off. Well, I went to chapel today, check. I went to this today, check off. But your faith is not a checklist. Your faith is something to pursue. And so if kids feel like Valor is not giving them what they need spiritually, it's probably because they're not giving a lot of effort. They're not seeking out those relationships. They're not seeking out those mentorships. I mean, that's life.
Oh, for sure.
You have to go get what you want. And if you don't want it, it's going to feel forced. And so I think a lot of kids feel forced, but it's because they don't necessarily seek it out. Find a church. I think that's every kid should be going to a youth group. Every kid should be going to a church outside of here. Again, Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Show up.
I love it.
9 o'clock. But yeah, I think that it's easy to have a lukewarm faith if you don't pursue it.
No, I hear that. And like Coach Erika was saying, Red Rocks. I don't know, people, I love it there. Everyone there, I love it. So there's this segment that I'm going to go into. It's called Rapid Fire. I'm going to give you 3 questions, and you just answer them fast. You know?
Okay, sure.
What's your favorite drill as an athlete? Maybe to punish or, I don't know.
Split squat hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make a kid split squat hold, they listen. My biggest thing is when you don't listen.
Yeah.
And when you're having to hold a split squat hold, your ears are opened up more and you listen.
Yeah, I think I can relate with that. Your favorite food, maybe a splurge or something.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Melted cheese. Queso is pretty much just cheese in general. My favorite food is probably Asiago cheese bagel toasted with plain cream cheese.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not very fan. I don't know what that is.
Hey, it's Einstein bagels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I'm going to have to try it.
Yeah.
I'm very simple. My dad, he went to culinary school. He had a restaurant, but I don't know. He just makes kind of the same thing every time. But I'm so grateful. It tastes so good.
Yeah. Awesome.
If you could have an all paid out vacation, where would you go?
Probably Turks and Caicos.
Mexico? Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, down in the Caribbean islands.
Okay.
Down in a bungalow with the clear floor that you can see the fish in the ocean.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had an awesome opportunity this last year to go deep sea fishing for 7 days. I caught a 200-pound blue marlin. Yeah, it was a trip of the lifetime, basically.
I definitely want to try fishing, but I have not. I've done it, but
deep sea fishing is different than any fishing I've ever done in my life.
Bet.
It's wild.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.
It's been a joy.
Thank you so much. Guys, make sure to follow and go see Coach Erika. And if you have any questions for her or just want to talk with her, I know she's down. Thank you guys. See you guys next week.